When we think about India's fight for freedom, the year 1857 usually jumps to mind, right? The Great Sepoy Mutiny. But what if I told you that a massive, organized armed rebellion against the British happened a full 4 decades earlier? Yeah, this is the story of a forgotten uprising from the early 1800s.
Well, the answer takes us to the coastal state of Odisha and revolves around a warrior class whose entire world was about to be turned completely upside down. We're talking about the Paika Rebellion of 1817.
Okay, so to really get what happened here, we've got to first understand who the Paikas were. They are, quite literally, the heart of this entire story.
For generations, the Paikas were the absolute backbone of the kingdom of Khurda. Now, these weren't just soldiers for hire. They were deeply respected landholders. Their identity, their honor, their whole way of life was tied directly to their swords and to the rent-free lands the king gave them for their service. They were the guardians of their kingdom.
And then the British arrived and just flipped the script completely. Look at this contrast. Overnight, these proud warriors were being treated like common peasants. Their ancestral lands, gone, confiscated. In their place came crushing new taxes and humiliating laws designed to strip away their power and dignity. You can just feel the pressure building, can't you?
You can only push people so far, right? Eventually, something's gotta give. All that simmering resentment just needed a single spark to become a raging fire, and that spark was the public humiliation of their leader.
So let's meet the man at the center of this storm, Bakshi Jagabandhu. This wasn't just any soldier. He was the commander of the king's forces, a man known for his courage, his discipline. He was the living embodiment of the Paika spirit.
So when the British took away his lands, leaving his family with nothing, it wasn't just an attack on one man. It was a direct assault on the honor of every single Paika. It was the final insult, the one that could not be ignored.
And just like that, the quiet storm that had been brewing in Odisha for years finally broke.
In March of 1817, the call went out. It echoed through the hills and villages of Odisha. The time for quietly simmering was over. It was time for action.
And here's the thing you gotta understand. This wasn't just a military coup. Bakshi Jagabandhu was joined by pretty much everyone, ordinary villagers, tribal groups like the Kandhas, even members of the old royal family. It was a true popular uprising. They grabbed whatever they could find, swords, spears, axes, and they were ready to fight.
And at first, their success was just stunning. They marched on Banpur and routed the British forces there. Then they captured Khurda, the historic capital, a huge symbolic victory. They attacked the symbols of British power, burning government buildings and cutting communication lines, basically paralyzing the local administration. For a brief moment, it must have felt like they had truly won their kingdom back.
But, a victory against the British Empire was never going to be that easy. They were shocked, for sure, but they weren't going to give up. The entire nature of the fight was about to change.
The British were genuinely caught off guard by the scale and speed of this rebellion. So they did what empires do. They rushed in massive reinforcements and began a brutal campaign to crush the revolt. The empire was striking back, and it was striking back hard.
Now, even though the British managed to take back the major towns pretty quickly, the Paikas didn't just surrender. No way. The fight was far from over. Bakshi Jagabandhu and his followers retreated into the dense forests, and for years they waged a fierce hit-and-run guerrilla war, hidden and supported by the local people.
8 years. Just let that sink in for a moment. For 8 years, the British Empire, with all its power and resources, could not catch him. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about the incredible determination of the Paikas and the huge support they had from the people.
Okay, so let's get to the big question. Why is this rebellion, one that technically ended in defeat, so important for us to remember today? Let's break down its incredible legacy.
The most crucial thing to remember is this was one of the very first large-scale organized armed revolts against British rule, a full 40 years before the famous mutiny of 1857. It proved just how deeply people hated the British land and tax policies, and it brought together everyone, soldiers, peasants, tribals, priests, for a common cause. It's an incredible symbol of bravery.
And this isn't just some local legend. In 2017, the Indian government officially recognized the Paika Rebellion for exactly what it was, one of the foundational movements in India's long struggle for freedom. It finally got its rightful place in the nation's history.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The history we learn in school is often just the tip of the iceberg.
How many other incredible stories of courage, of resistance, and of sacrifice from every corner of the world are still out there, just waiting to be told?